On this week's Rambler Sports Locker, the men's volleyball team continued MIVA play, and the track and field team took home a pair of conference honors.
Also, Dylan Conover and his Ramble analyst discussed the NBA stars resting, and RSL reporter Emily Morgenstern recaps the softball team's home opener against Valparaiso.
Thanks, Henry. Loyola softball hit off their home opener on March 21st. Check in later with my game recap of their win over Valparaiso on this week's Rambler Sports Locker.
Welcome back to another edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Kelsey Frew.
And I'm Henry Redmond. The men's volleyball team had 2 home matches this week against MIVA rivals. The Ramblers lost the first in a 3-0 sweep to number 2 Ohio State University, but rebounded with a 3-0 sweep of their own against McKendree. Against the Buckeyes, who are the MIVA leaders in hitting percentage at .352, the Ramblers hit just .153. Loyola was led by junior Ben Plaisted, who notched 10 kills, but it wasn't enough, and Ohio State would cruise to the win. 3 days later, the team was back in action against McKendree, who entered the match with a 2-7 conference record. The Ramblers steamed through the Bearcats the way the Buckeyes had steamed through them. Loyola was once again led by Plaisted, who had 16 kills, just one shy of his season high. McKendree pushed ahead the Ramblers in the second set, but with a final Rambler rally, and with the help of a Plaisted kill, the Ramblers got the second set victory. Plaisted has now tallied 10 or more digs in 10 straight matches. The Ramblers win 3-0, advancing to 12-8 overall and 7-4 in MIVA play. The Ramblers will continue its 4-game homestand with matches against St. Francis University on March 24th and number 13 Penn State on March 25th.
The softball team got off to a hot start this season, but hit a wall when it lost 3 straight games to MVC opponent Evansville. The Ramblers tried to get their season back on track in their home opener against Valparaiso. RSL reporter Emily Morgenstern has more.
The Ramblers ended their losing streak when they faced Valparaiso on Tuesday at Loyola Softball Park. Valparaiso scored the first run in the game in the top of the second, but Loyola's center fielder Shannon McGee answered with a 3-run home run in the bottom of the inning. But the Ramblers' lead didn't last long when the Crusaders scored 2 more runs in the top of the third. Pitcher Kylie Jones came in to relieve starter Keenan Dolezal for the Ramblers in the 4th inning. It was a close game for the remainder of the game, and Jones worked out a jam in the 5th, straining 2 Crusaders on base. The score remained tied at 3 through regulation, but an RBI single by Kristen Leah in the bottom of the 8th sent Loyola home with the 4-3 win over Valparaiso. The win brings Loyola's overall record to 17-7. Up next, the Ramblers travel to Springfield, Missouri to face the Missouri State Bears for a 3-game series on March 25th.
Thanks, Emily. The women's soccer team has added another coach to its ranks with the hiring of Katie BERKOPEC. The Apple Valley, Minnesota native will serve as an assistant coach working with the team's goalkeepers. Head coach Barry Bimby is confident BERKOPEC is a good fit for the team and will contribute to the program from day one. The team kicked off their spring schedule on March 19th with a game against local rival Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. They will play a total of 5 games during the months of March and April against some tough competition. With 20 returning letter winners, the team hopes the challenging spring games will prepare them for a successful fall season. Their next matchup is on March 26th against UW Milwaukee.
The men's golf team continued its season in Springfield, Missouri at the Twin Oaks Intercollegiate. The Ramblers finished in 11th out of 11 teams with a total score of 85 over par, 78 strokes behind the leader Bradley, who finished 7 over par. Loyola's top 4 scorers were all within 3 strokes of each other, but the team was led by freshman Justin LaFrance, who finished in 55th with a final score of 20 over par. LaFrance's best outing was in the second round when he shot a 72-1 over par. Behind LaFrance were sophomore Orion Yamat and freshman Nick Bonema, who tied for 56 at 21 over par, and senior Michael Valetti in 60th at 23 over par. Senior Ben Olson rounded out the team in 69th place at 44 over par. The golf team will take a 2-week break before heading to Dayton, Ohio on April 3rd for the Wright State Invitational.
The track and field team has officially begun the outdoor portion of their schedule after traveling to Indianapolis, Indiana for the Stan Leon's Invitational. Hosted by Butler University, Loyola was one of 11 teams at the event. The men's team came out strong, dominating the 400-meter dash by taking first, second, and third place. The Ramblers also led the 110-meter hurdles, with sophomore Regan Todd Hunter winning first and senior Lino Magorovich snagging third. On the women's end, junior Cassie Block finished the 1,500-meter race in first by a sizable margin. By the end of the Invitational, the men's team ranked 5th with a score of 110, and the women's team ranked 8th with 80 points. After the Invitational, 2 track and field athletes received MVC weekly honors. Freshman Eric Burns received recognition from the Missouri Valley Conference as the Male Field Athlete of the Week. Burns placed first in the long jump with a top leap of 6.89 meters. He now holds the 4th place on Loyola's all-time outdoor record board and ranks 49th in the NCAA West Region this year. Redshirt senior and former RSL executive producer Jake Mazanke was recently awarded conference honors after competing at the Baldy Castillo Invitational in Tempe, Arizona last Saturday. He earned the Male Track Athlete of the Week recognition after taking 3rd overall at the Invitational. Mazanke posted a time of 1 minute and 49.06 seconds in the 800-meter run, which puts him 2nd on Loyola's all-time outdoor record board. Kicking his final outdoor season off with an impressive start, Mazanke currently leads both the MVC and NCAA West region. Next for the Ramblers is the Raleigh Relays on March 24th and 25th. The team will be traveling to Raleigh, North Carolina for the Invitational hosted by NC State.
Even though the men's basketball season is over, senior guard Milton Doyle is still winning awards. Doyle was named to the National Association of Basketball Coaches' first team All-District 16. He is joined on the first team by 4 other MVC players, including Player of the Year, Illinois State guard Paris Lee. Doyle is the first Rambler to receive All-District recognition since Blake Schilb in 2007. Doyle was named to the MVC first team in February and also received votes for the Conference Player of the Year.
Continuing with basketball, fans are disappointed with a lack of star power during the basketball season.
Dylan and his Ramble analysts discuss whether or not players should be resting during the regular season to prepare for the finals.
Hi, welcome to this week's Ramble. I'm Dylan Conover, and I'm joined today by Nick Schultz and Ian Kasdan. Guys, today we're talking about the NBA and players resting. It's been happening a lot late down the stretch. Coaches are resting their best players. My question to you, is this right? Should they be doing that? Nick, I'll start with you.
I'm going to quote the mailman here, Karl Malone. It's not work, it's called playing. The NBA is getting softer. Back in the days when Malone and Jordan played, they'd play all 82 games. I don't like it.
Ian, what do you think?
Well, I think that resting isn't a complaint in any other major sport, and I think that this is only coming up because of the recent appearances of players resting on primetime games such as TNT and ESPN. I think that to fix this, it's more of a scheduling and league issue rather than just a player and coach issue.
Now, Nick, obviously you're upset about players resting, but think about it this way. Does a fan care more about a player playing on whatever given night more than winning a championship, which is the reason that a lot of these teams are doing that?
Well, I think so. I mean, you've got these average fans that go out and they want to go to a game. They decide to go to a game. Let's say it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Say they go to watch a Cavs game to go see LeBron and Kyrie play, and they sit on the bench. They're wasting their money.
Yeah, but, I mean, don't you think those fans will be happier if the Cavs win a title?
Oh, they'll be happy if they win a title, but I think for sure if I spend money to go to a game and don't get to see LeBron play, I mean, you got to look at it. Attendance is down, TV ratings are down, because they're not playing these players, they're star players, and they're losing games.
And now I kind of just want to ask you a question based on what he was saying there. Mm-hmm. You think it's fine, it's good, but does it take away from kind of like the purity of the game? In a sense, the regular season doesn't matter anymore for these super teams. It's all about the championships that they're going for. I mean, it's eliminating the need for a season.
Well, I think that's also an issue with the lower level teams because so many teams now have decided to tank and have decided to say that we're just going to put out our young players who can't play defense and we're just going to play for a very high draft pick and allow these teams that are already set to go and make the playoffs, and we'll just let them rest and succeed and have rested players for that time being. And then when the players are resting, that gives these poor teams opportunities to actually win and have fans come out and see them succeed against these more successful teams.
So is the issue then just in the scheduling? Like, are there just too many games simply being scheduled in the NBA?
Well, personally, I think that it's more of a issue with preseason and back-to-back games, that I think that they can keep 82 games because it's the same with hockey, and they haven't had any issues with resting players there. I think
hockey players are tough. I mean,
Yeah.
you got hockey players out there. These guys are animals. They're guys. I forget his name. Played for the Bruins. He literally flatlined on the bench. They brought him back to life. They ended up canceling the game because of this. He wanted to get back in the game. Hockey players are tough. NBA players just aren't tough anymore.
Well, I mean, I think that we can all agree that hockey players are the toughest of any sport, but I think that in basketball, players are expected to play upwards of over 37 minutes a game in the regular season and in the playoffs, where players such as LeBron James has already made 6 straight finals, potentially his 7th this year, and if he's expected to play those kind of minutes in the playoffs, they'd rather have him rest during the regular season.
Let me say this. I don't want to hear LeBron and Michael Jordan in the same sentence, and here's why. Michael Jordan played all 82 games 9 times in his career. Do you know how many times LeBron James has played all 82 games? 0. Michael Jordan also averaged 38 minutes a game throughout his career.
LeBron this year will play over 50,000 minutes and has already played more minutes than Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird.
Nick, what's your closing statement?
I don't like that they're resting. The game is getting softer, and they're losing fans because of it. It's all about the fans. It's a business. And when you lose fans, you're losing business.
Ian, what's your closing statement?
I think that this is an issue with players and coaches know their bodies better than fans, management, or the league. And I think that they should allow them to manage their bodies and allow them to work on selling games and selling marketing.
Yeah, okay. I think the big issue here is the minutes and the scheduling. And Nick, unfortunately, I was starting to think you might have had it, but I decided to give it to Ian for this week because of what you said right here. When you talked about playing all 82 games in a season, and Ian brings up the fact that LeBron has played more minutes than all those great players you mentioned. And not only that, Michael Jordan never went to 6 straight finals.
It's in a softer era, but that's just my 2 cents.
Well, that's another debate to have, but I'm going to have to give it to Ian for this week. I don't think it's a bad thing. It might stink for you if you go to a game, but overall, not the biggest deal in the world. With that, I'm going to send it to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have the Cavs win in June than in March.
Couldn't agree more. For our full episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Henry Redmond.
And I'm Kelsey Frew. Check back next week for another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.